Evil Dead Rise is the latest Evil Dead film. It is written and directed by Lee Cronin, who his previous film was The Hole in the Ground, which is a low-budget sort of chiller about a mom and a kid and a doppelganger. So this one is about Ellie. She is a single mother of three, raising three daughters in a really crappy apartment building, which is going to be condemned in about a month. And her sister Beth is a technician, I guess, a guitar technician for a band, and she follows them around on tour. She pops in wherever she wants to, so she's like the cool Aunt Beth. However, one of the daughters finds the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead, and unleashes deadites on the apartment building, mainly the mom. So the mom turns and starts going after her children, which is, pretty scary. So this movie, there's a lot of hype. It's a spiritual sort of sequel to the movie that came out 10 years before by Fede Alvarez, a sort of reboot, remake. This one is a lot, it's a lot going for it. First off, the acting's amazing. Everyone does a great job. There's a bunch of lesser-known performers, especially the little girl. She does a great job. The teenagers are fine. The two sisters are good. Plenty of sparse character development at the beginning. There's a couple of neighbors that are guys. They don't get much development. But the movie does have sparse character development, and most of the family conflict doesn't really mean or do anything in terms of the plot. So in that regard, it's very superfluous. There's also way too much setup. The movie's only like barely 100 minutes long, but we're getting all this family drama at the beginning of the film. And there's an earthquake, and one of the daughters goes into like this broken hole to find a vault, to find the safety deposit boxes, to find the Book of the Dead, brings it upstairs, has a vinyl player to play it, and unleashes the deadites. You could have had literally anything else. You could have had like a funeral, granddad passed away, he's the eccentric collector, he left us some stuff and the Necronomicon was in a locked box or something. That would have been quicker and faster, but I guess having the deadites in an apartment building is a new sort of concept, but it doesn't really do anything new. I think the biggest flaw of the movie is that it's not very original. Besides having deadites in an apartment building, the movie's very threadbare, and it does have a lower budget of only $15 million, but the movie it feels really underwhelming for most of the film. You don't really get too much scary stuff until the last 30 minutes, and the rest of the movie's build up, too much talking. Once the action does start up, it's mostly just repetitive nature. For example, the mom, she gets possessed first, and she has this elevator sequence, and then she's creepy, and then she's dead, and then she's not dead, and then she's dead again, and it's repetitive and just sort of filler. She just started attacking people. And I guess if the movie did have a bigger budget, they could go a little bit crazier with the sort of set pieces. For example, one really exciting set piece is done in a pretty unique camera choice way, but if it had a bigger budget, they probably would have had that in the hallway and have a slaughter or a massacre of sorts. But the movie manages to keep it bare bones and bare thread. There's lots of great gore in the movie. I like that. The characters are okay. They're more than just cannon fodder, at least, but some other characters are meat puppets, basically. And the opening sequence has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. It just feels like extra set dressing. The movie does add a little bit of extra lore, which I appreciated, but way too many hammy callbacks with dialogue referencing the first trilogy. And it really takes you out of the movie, because those came out many years ago in the 70s, and you're saying stuff they're not saying groovy, but they say other stuff, and it's really jarring. Come up with your own dialogue. So overall, I still enjoyed Evil Dead Rise. It's nothing particularly wrong. I just thought the story could have been a little bit better. The movie tries to force nostalgia goggles on you a lot for most of the movie. Other than that, though, it was a thrilling time, and I give it a 7 out of 10.